or global warming, everyone. Now, I still have the great problem. I must rant about that at some point, of not knowing enough. Not only am I not given enough information, I'm not all that interested, because I don't find world all that difficult. I mean, I don't need to have minute information about every. I mean, if I did, I would have become a reporter. I don't need to have minute information about everything and being able to prove everything to everybody. You know, if something to me is just common sense. Again, uh, I cannot wait to do a rant on Israel. I probably the fact that the U.S. presidential election, primary election, would have needed international observers, UN observers, and it wouldn't have passed. I think that might deserve a rant. It is rather interesting. Uh, but I feel that it is my duty as a human being to rant about TTIP. Again, there's Brexit coming. One has to rant about that. But TTIP it seems so important that even though it is not quite imminent yet, well, in a way, it might be. I need to rant, and again, if to somebody, you know, if somebody gets who's well versed, happens to get the ministrations of 1 foot in a grave and TPC, well, I'm sorry, but these, you know, I cannot help it. These letter they're so funny, and since TTIP, the only way to try and judge it, I think, is to try and judge TTP. You know, these letters, they just, you know, you have so many of them that you have to say them in a certain way. Anyway, so to my first idea, or first point. Again, I don't know all the intricacies. I'm not interested in all the intricacies of free trade or globalization or European Union. Because when somebody has already first talked about them, I've said, oh, that's complete crap. I mean, what sort of free trade? You know, you have what? What is it? What is freedom of movement? What are you talking about? I mean, you know, previously, if you know, if it was too expensive in the capital, you know, somebody moved manufacturing to you know, up north or down south, depending where your capital was. So suddenly you have globalization, and suddenly it is all moved to a country where there's still slavery. When, you know, there's been a long time, and it's taken labor movement a long time to get some rights to workers. I mean, how does that help? What that? There's no point in that. That is absolutely incredible. And you know, to the people of that country, to that labor movement, to those workers, you know, no sense whatsoever. Something like free trade. What do you mean? What do you mean free trade? What does this mean? Free what? And you know, and some sort of a competition. I mean, what competition? You know, you have a giant American corporation with American protectionism, mercantilism. You know, the opposite of free trade. Actually, behind it, competing on a level playing field with a, you know, small European company, you know, from Finland or somewhere, that has absolutely no resources to begin with, you know, and no proper protectionism behind it. I mean, who's gonna win? Yeah. Guess. What's that all about? I mean, what good it is to that smaller company? You know, makes no sense whatsoever. None. And And it's the same thing with sort of with a trade agreement. Most of them are not trade agreements. Actually, trade agreement. It has nothing to do with trade. It is actually, let's say, most of the time it's just removing pesky obstacles like local regulations and environmental laws from the path of giant international corporations. I mean, what the heck has that got to do with trade? You're not trading anything, you're destroying something. It's insane. It makes no... And if you want to talk about trade agreements, they pretty much had nailed them by the time of the Roman Empire, what, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. I mean, it isn't really all that... I don't know, perhaps the word free that makes it somehow presentable. And all these things, they are continuously there, to you, the voter, the thing that should be the primary concern. Okay, giant multi-billion international corporation is a piece of crap compared to you, single human being, a person, a citizen. So anyway, how these things are explained to you are conveniently, that then we have the trade flows better and we can invest and all those sort of crap that, if you think about it, isn't going to help you any bit. You know that it is going to help, a big company executive. You know it's going to help the billionaire class. You know that it is going to help all the major stockholders. But how is it going to help you? How did globalization help you? How does free trade help you? And so again, it is not something that, to begin with, it's crazy, and I don't know why you people take it. I don't know. And it's again the way these things are, to go to TPP, which is the only way that you can judge TTIP. TPP. It was negotiated mostly by business, big business, giant corporations and so on, business people with absolutely no knowledge to the, ordinary voter or somebody whose life it is going to actually change. And the parliament, that should be elected by the people is going to ratify it and so on. It's going to change countries and it's going to change the relationship. It's going to complete cyberpunk. It's going to put giant corporations above countries, local legislation, above everything. Countries, counties, states, and so it's gonna directly affect you. During neoliberalism, what they've done, they've privatized absolutely everything. They privatized your postal service and your healthcare and whatever, and now TPP, in those countries, those poor countries, is gonna make it firstly illegal to ever even try and take them back to the government, to nationalize them. If you notice, okay, privatizing the health service was a mistake. Now suddenly you have laws preventing ever trying to nationalize it again. But as you know, firstly they nationalize, they privatize anything they can, and the immediate result is that all the service goes through the floor. No customer service to talk of. It may lower costs for a short time in certain areas, not most. But if you look 5 years later, 10 years later, the prices are actually up. And all the costs are up. So it does nothing but destroy firstly your service. Let's say it's your postal service. Suddenly you have no postal service. Then if you want to complain, you get no customer service because there's no customer service. And, and something like the Ttip will make it impossible, illegal for you to try and complain, so to speak, about whatever any giant corporation decides to do or destroy. And again, one doesn't know, is the TTIP, is it the same thing? Well, since, everything that has been done has been serving giant corporations and trying to remove the ordinary person, having an ordinary citizen and voter having anything to say what happens to him or to his world, I doubt that TTIP would suddenly make a complete U-turn from everything that has been before. I mean, again, that seems like a completely ridiculous idea. Anyway, so and is it? Because again, I don't know if there's I heard it was some sort of a Greenpeace leak. What's been there again? They're negotiating the TTIP. If you're not getting any information, it has to be through a leak or something that you get information. What's being talked? It's about you. They're negotiating about your life, and if you're not getting any information, I mean, that is absolutely intolerable. But somehow you people tolerate it. I don't know why. I have no idea why. So anyway, as far as I can tell, it's a total and complete and absolute disaster, and it is because everything else has been, and everything leading up to TTIP has been a complete disaster, and it's gonna make, again, I have no idea what's gonna happen in the future. At some point, you people, you must wake up, and you've had enough, and then we're gonna have a giant revolution if the world still exists. But all this, the ecology of the planet is not going to take this for very long. So it is. I would feel that it is much more likely that this planet is going to be inhabitable before the next revolution. I don't know. But again, it is incredible how simple the world is. I mean, I can only see one definite way to stop TTIP, and that is for Bernie Sanders to win the US presidential election. First, he would have to be the Democratic nominee, which is, of course, possible, considering that at the moment there are, in a way, 3 people running, and you have one decent politician, and you have one economic criminal and a con man who is probably going to be tried for fraud concerning a university. So I mean, there are pretty good chances, but right at the moment, I mean, it is absolutely incredible. The most of the U.S. it is quite literally, people who should know better are living in an alternate reality. You have polls that tell quite simply that Bernie Sanders is the best candidate. He's most likely to win a general election, and you have pollsters telling that polls are not reliable, even though if you did a poll, you'd get the result that polls at this time of year of election season are very reliable. So you have pollsters telling that polls are not reliable, even though polls would tell them that polls are reliable. If that is not alternate reality, I mean, what is, in human sense, alternate reality? So I don't know what's going to happen, but considering that is the single biggest hope for TTIP to stop, TTP as well, but TTIP not to happen, it does make that election as well very interesting to follow. But still, I mean, I trust that nothing will come out of this rant and so on. But again, as a public service, I had to do it. TTIP bad.